Hi, I'm Ben from Witterings Fitness. I'm here with Sam, and in this video we're going to teach you how to deadlift. So to start with, we've got some wooden dowels. Hopefully you've already seen our other videos on the brace, knee positions and 3 points of contact, which we did for the squat. All of those points and the breathing and the bracing are going to apply for the deadlift. So assuming you've warmed up, assuming you've seen all those videos, should all make sense. We're going to start the wooden dowel, and the thing we want to start with is practicing this hip hinge a bit better. So we're going to start with 3 points of contact in our back. So if you turn to the side here, we've got head, upper back, and crack. Easy way to remember it, head, back, and crack. Okay, we don't want to lose any of these 3 points. With the hand, we want to have that in the arch of his back. So you can turn your palm around, that's it, and we want that in his lower back. And what we're going to do is we're going to hinge at the hip only, so slight bend of the knees, and then hinge at the hip. You're just going to draw your bum back, and as soon as you lose one of these 3 points of contact, something has gone wrong. Either his head has come up or his lower back has rounded. So if you slight bend of the knees, hinge back. Okay, so if his head comes up, just put your head up or down. You've lost it. So he might lose this middle one if his head comes up too far. This little middle point will loss. Or if he's lower, if you try and lose that lower back one, so that's now his back is rounded. So we know that his spine's come out of position. So if you can't do this without losing one of those 3 points of contact, do not try and do the deadlift with the weights yet, because obviously your back is going to be at risk of injury. So make sure you can do the 3 points of contact test first. So slight bend in the knees, hip hinge, and then coming back. So he's already got that, he's good. Most of the tension's happening in his hamstrings and his calves, so we need to make sure his hamstrings and his glutes, hamstrings and glute flexibility is quite important here. Okay, turn around, bring your bar to the front. So the next kind of progression from here is bar in front, as if we were going to do a deadlift. You can turn and face me. So the important bit here is we're going to keep the bar really close, and we're going to put the shoulders down into the pockets. You can also imagine you've got oranges under your armpits and you're squeezing your oranges, okay, and that's going to keep this big lat muscle activated, so you're depressing the shoulders. It's going to keep this big lat muscle active, and it stabilizes the whole of your spine, so it helps that spinal stability. He knows about the breathing now because we did that in the last video, so deep breath in, brace, bring that down, good. And now slight bend of the knees and hip hinge backwards. So we're keeping the bar nice and close. We do not want to reach out with the bar. Don't want to come out like this, so we're keeping the bar close. It's really good. Nice. Good head position, nice neutral spine. This is an easy person to teach. Nothing's gone wrong yet. Okay, and again, so deep breath in, brace, good, head position's good, slight bend of the knees, and then it's just pushing your bum back, keeping the 3 points of contact on the feet still. So still not losing that. One thing that can go wrong, which Sam's just about doing again, which he did on his squat, is he's overextending, so you're trying to bring your chest up too far. We don't want to be overextending, so just emphasize that overextension. Now his back's arch is a bit too much. Okay, so we want to come back up, just rebrace. As long as he gets tight here, that's it, good. And then he's still got an arch, but it's not excessive. That's what we're looking for, okay? And you're just going to go down as far as the limit of your hamstrings allows you to. If you get too far and you're like trying to reach with your shoulders, then if you try and reach with the shoulders, then everything else is going to fall through. You don't need to expect to hit the ground or anything. So if you reach with the shoulders, everything's going to collapse, and then your back, all that pressure is going to be in your lower back. Happy with that? Yeah. So just go to where you're limited to. If, when we get onto the bar, if you need to raise the floor up with some other plates or something, then you can put 2 plates on top of each other just to reduce the range of motion of the exercise. You're still doing the hip hinge, but you just might need to work on your flexibility a little bit more. So we're happy with the bar, we're going to lose that, and now we're going to go to the deadlift. What we've got some plates here. When you're putting plates on, these are training plates, they're just 2.5 kilos. We call these our ego plates because they look a lot heavier than they really are. So if you put those on, just remember when you're picking up weights and putting them on, we want to remember having a good back position, okay? So we don't want to just suddenly, just because we're moving weights and twisting, have a horrible back position. Got your clips there, you can put some clips on if you need them. Not too important for deadlift, but I'll get them on anyway. So neutral spine, That's it. Okay, so you're setting up for the squats. You're going to stand right underneath the bar. Okay, so come all the way forward. So his feet are in the middle of the bar. Don't want to be having the bar all the way out here, because again, you're kind of reaching forward. Let's go back a little bit.
You said squat rather than deadlift.
Sorry?
You said squat rather than deadlift.
Oh, sorry, it's deadlift. So we're setting up for the deadlift, not the squat. So shuffle forward. So his feet are directly underneath the bar. He's going to bring his arms out in front of him first. Deep breath in, fill up. Same as belly breathing we were doing before, so relax. Go in for the belly first, breathe in, good, fill up, fill up, fill up. Now crush it, good, but don't let the breath out. Again, okay, so don't let that breath out, plug the breath, hold, and now get tight. Come down, grab the bar. So don't worry about anything yet, just come down, grab the bar. Okay, so he's got a little bit of rounding here. So the first thing we're gonna do is shoulders in the pockets, which you've done, a little bit of an arch in the back, good. Now, he's quite in a squat position here, so I wanted to try and push those knees back, and as you push the knees back, you're gonna lift your bum up, and you're tightening up those hamstrings. And that has taken out all the slack from the system. He should feel ready to lift right now, yeah? And you can go for it, you can lift. And you should have felt that all of that pressure was with your hamstrings and your glutes. Okay, this is not a lower back exercise, it's a glutes and hamstring exercise, predominantly hamstrings really. Exhale as you go up, okay, so we're gonna rebreathe. We're always gonna breathe at the top position. So you can breathe in again now. Get tight, good, hold. You're gonna touch and go. So slight bend in the knees, hinge back, touch, go as far as you're able to, touch the floor and then back up. Good, nice. Happy with that?
Yeah.
And good, exhale on the way up. Again, if your hamstring flexibility wouldn't allow that, what we could do is we could grab another plate and we could raise up the height of the floor to allow him to still have a safe back. So if you just go to your knee height this time, he could still go to about here and come back up, and he's still working his hamstrings. We're trying to work the hamstrings in this position, so he's still getting a effect from the exercise without risking his lower back. All right. Slight variations of this movement is you can do a Romanian deadlift, which is a bit more stiff-legged. Okay, so if you just show that, deep breath in, brace, tight, and then stiff-legged. Good, so he's in a much stiffer leg position there, and he's getting a lot more into the hamstrings and the glutes. What you'll notice is as well, actually, if we go all the way down, we'll just take the weights off the bar so we can see. Good, nice. Okay, if you take those plates off. Remember that neutral spine? See how it's easily forgotten? Obviously, they're not heavy anyway, so it's fine. By the way, you shouldn't be afraid of just like rounding your back at all. Like you should be able to do that. It's just when you load it up and you're not braced, that's when things become an issue, okay? So if you pick the bar up as best you can in that position. Okay, right, so what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna do the deadlift again. So shoulders in your pockets, brace, good, get tight, slight bend of the knees, and hinge, and just pause when you get past. So stop there. Okay, so he's got a nice straight shin here. That's something we want to look for. If he tried to squat, that knee would have got in the way. Okay, so come back up. If you try and squat now rather than deadlift, so remember we talked about knee flexion, that's when his knees get in the way, and then his shoulders are going to round forward, and then he's going to go into this really nasty back position, and that's going to risk injury there. Okay? So it's always a slight bend of the knee, and then you hinge back. And then once you're past the knee, you can actually squat a little bit more into it, and then you can come down and then back up. Good. And it's the reverse movement on the way up. So it's pushing the knees back and then hinging up. That's the way to think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, a few other things just to think about is really squeezing the shoulders back and pushing them down, and just like hinging back at the hip. When we did the squat, we talked about spreading the floor apart. In the deadlift, you can actually squeeze. Imagine you've got a ball between your feet. You can actually squeeze your feet together a bit, and that will activate your adductors and your hamstrings a little bit more. So you get a little bit more activation, takes up all that slack from the system. Cool? Okay, good. Bar all the way down. One last thing, just if you're really struggling with this hip hinge position, here's a little trick. Remember this thumbs up position from one of the other videos that we did. So we're making sure the head stays there. We can also use these measuring sticks, which is a little idea from foundation training. So if you're really struggling with this hip hinge, have a look at foundation training, it's really good. And this is going to stop the gap from closing between your ribs and your hips. Okay, so as you hinge forward, you're making sure that it doesn't extend forward or overextend, because if the gap got bigger, that would overextend. So he's got his thumb on the bottom of his ribs and his little finger on the top of his hips. So this is nice, another nice way of practicing that hip hinge position. That's been the deadlift. I'm Ben from Witterings Fitness. Thanks for watching.